I think we're live. I think we are. Yeah. I think there's a little bit of a delay, but anyway, here we are. So this has been a work in progress all day. Since like 6 o'clock in the morning. I've been wanting to sit and actually do a completely different video, to be honest. I wanted to do a video about a tarot and oracle deck reading that I've been working on, or that came out in the last week. There's been a lot of craziness that's been going on for weeks now. I kind of seem to say that whenever I post a video, and I've been making videos a lot. I just haven't been editing them and posting them. It takes a lot of time, and there just hasn't been time. However, it's a really important time right now. It is still August 4th. On Monday is the full moon, and in the middle of the night it transitions to the lionsgate. And then in a couple weeks we have the new moon and the eclipse. And what I've noticed coming in the last few weeks, pretty much since the beginning of July, but especially starting in the second week in July, is a rampant upswing in negative energy being directed towards empaths. And I can speak from my own experience and a couple of people that I've talked to and things that I've witnessed myself. But what inspired, I'll get to first what inspired my video for today. The one that I didn't plan, which is this one. I was verbally, abusively attacked today by one of the people, well, actually kind of both of them, but especially one of the people that I live with. And it was intense. I haven't experienced something like that in a really long time. Not since I was with an ex-boyfriend who committed domestic violence against me, and I actually had to get a restraining order against him. He never did physically assault me, but he mentally abused me and tried several different ways of intimidation, which really doesn't work well with somebody like me. In the beginning of somebody trying that sort of thing with me, I tend to just observe and then maybe let a few things go, and then I start to be really vocal about not letting myself be in a situation where I'm being belittled or intimidated or talked down to, humiliated, being called names, screamed at, things like this, throwing things, anything like that. So I don't cower, I don't like freak out and cry, I don't do the classic things that people would do in those fearful situations, because I guess innately I'm not afraid. I'm more upset by that type of situation. I'm a lot of things, but I'm not typically afraid. I know I'm really protected by a lot of forces around me, by the angelic realm, by the fairy realm, the fae realm, the dragon fae realm, as well as spirit guides and just all sorts of yummy goodness surrounds me all the time. So I'm really not afraid of a lot of things. To be honest with you, and I'm not saying that to boast in any way. I'm just really not. I still at the same time won't share space with people who are innately, negative, or always, start in a negative space. And unfortunately, I very recently, only in June, moved to this home where I was guided to be, and it happened and it manifested extraordinarily quickly. Within 8 hours of me deciding that I would leave where I was in Long Beach and find something further south in Orange County near the Laguna area. The next morning, I found a place, sent a text. By the afternoon, I was here in a rented car, and by 8 o'clock in the evening, I had signed the lease. And 2 weeks later, it turned out to be 3 weeks later because I got really sick. And that was right after the ninth gate at the end of May. So things happened really quickly, and I was guided here, like I said. And by all accounts, it's definitely meant to be. This is also for people who are familiar with the crystalline grid that is above and covering our planet. There are certain intrajectory type lines, and this is one. So I'm a gatekeeper, and I was activated here. And that's just a really simple way to put it. It's it's kind of complicated, and that's two couple different things kind of put together. So I don't want to simplify it too much, but I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about energy vampirism. And like I said, the situation with my landlord slash roommate, on one hand, I was guided here. He also just recovered from nearly dying, and things very serious happened to him. And so I was also guided here to help awaken him to who he really is and to help heal him, because I've become a healer now. I can sense I could always sense. I'm a physical empath, so I could always sense what's wrong with people. But now, because of going through this ascension process that I've been going through for about 10 years now, I've only been aware of it for about a year now. Major shifts and just recognizing things within myself, because I didn't always know that I was an empath. I didn't always know how strong my abilities were, and because I didn't always know that, I was really a very physically sick person for most of my life, because I am so super sensitive energetically, etherically, and all that stuff as well. It's made life really interesting, to say the least. So now, anyway, I am highly psychic, and I get messages from, like I said, I was protected from these other realms. Well, I also very much communicate with them, and they communicate with me. I got into tarot cards and oracle cards a few months ago, but and I use them differently, or they use me, I should say. They use me differently than the normal, traditional way. That was the video I was going to do, was going over this one spread that is very timely. And I will do that video tomorrow. It's going to be way too late tonight to do that, unfortunately. So I will do that tomorrow. So today, I wanted to do this video after this thing happened with my roommate, because it was like, wow, this is like happening. There's a lot of things that have happened in ways that I've been psychically attacked or energetically attacked in the last few weeks. And I believe that this is because, not that I believe, I know, let me just put it that way. I know that this is because of who I am and what I'm supposed to do. My mission is to help awaken and identify and empower empaths to recognize who they are. And they are extremely powerful people who were missioned here from our, on their own. Nobody is told to do. It's not like a military thing where this is what you're going to do. It's what you wanted to do. So we are here as light workers, light bodies, way showers, light warriors. There's all sorts of different names for us, but those people are empaths, and their bodies work differently, and they are more telepathic, more psychic. Even our brains are physically wired differently. In a lot of ways, we have been empaths. Well, humanity, let me just clarify there. Humanity has been lied to in a lot of ways about what we really are and what we're really capable of and what these bodies really can do. And for us empaths, we are kind of like the spark plugs to get other people online, I guess is the best way to put it simply. So I don't want to spend too much time on that either. And if we, as empaths, the spark plugs, are taken out of the mission, let's say, to help get the word out and spread healing and spread love, unity, consciousness, and all that, then it makes the opposite side that much stronger. And so, when it comes to what is going on right now in the world, in our solar system, in the galaxy, everything, there's a lot, but right here at home, we have, today, August 4th was the 66th day of the 9th wave of the Mayan. It's a Mayan calendar thing, and so that started on the 24th, and so and that's in line with the golden age of Aquarius. Now, piggybacking right on that is, like I mentioned before, the lionsgate, and what that is, and is in alignment with Sirius, the galactic center, the pyramids in Giza, and it all happens obviously in August, and that's the sign of Leo for horoscopes and astrology, and so it is called the Lion's Gate or the Lion's Portal. And what that means is that with that alignment, we have a major upgrade, and a ton of light energy hitting Gaia, and it starts a few days before, so it's going to be starting like the 5th, the 6th, definitely the 7th. The closer you get to that alignment obviously the stronger it is, and then it'll start to wane out as well. But the whole month of August, actually the whole year of 2017 is really crazy with a bunch of this stuff going on. But then just a couple weeks later, we have the new moon and the eclipse. The total eclipse going over North America, where a very large majority of light beings, let's just put it that way, empaths and people like me on soul missions at this time to awaken and help ascend with other people and to heal them and so on and so forth, which I, by the way, was really sick for a long time and cured myself a few years ago once I realized, or once I was told the information through the angelic realm. So ever since then, I've been totally healthy. And cured myself, basically, of a really, really nasty illness that basically ruled my life forever. And not only got healthy, but got pretty powerful. And now I'm super psychic. I heal really easily. I don't require a lot of sleep, typically, unless there's a lot of energetic stuff going on. Then, yeah. I could do things that I remember that I could do back when I was like a kid, and I realized that not most people could do. I could answer questions that people had that didn't ask them verbally anyway. I knew things about people I probably, or I shouldn't know, but that I wouldn't know otherwise. And I gave them information as a small child. There's always just been things that I've known, ways that I've been shown things, innate intuitions that eventually I started to pay attention to the older I got, because for a long time there I was constantly testing it because I needed to know it was actually accurate, I guess. I don't know. How do you know? You have to test your theories, right? Okay, so back to the energy vampirism. Sorry to jump around so much. My head is kind of a jumbled mess, but it is really important to talk about this today. So, at one point, when he was yelling at me today, he was standing about 5-6 feet, maybe 7 feet at the most, but probably within a 5 to 4 foot range of me. And at times he would get way closer. He would like come in at me, and I was up against the wall. So I was going to retreat into the bedroom or go down the hall or just stand there and basically deal and take it. And I was just kind of like in shock, I was just more like observing like what was happening, really. Then I felt like I wasn't really part of it, because I tried so many times to get away and to stop the conversation when it happened, or when it started, I should say, that sorry, I have to close this. I think I'm getting a lag. So at that point, I was just like, all right, he is completely lost it. He was screaming at the top of his lungs. His face was red. Like spit was flying. He was shaking. It was maximum capacity, out of control, serious intimidation and negative energy coming at me hardcore. hardcore. I could physically feel it. And I've felt a lot of psychic and energetic attacks lately. And I'll get into more of that and break it down for you. And the reason why I'm doing this is so hopefully nobody's going to scream at you at the top of their lungs. But these other things are relevant because they're a lot more subtle. However, when it comes to this intense attack, because it had been so long, and I knew when it had happened before with the ex-boyfriend who I got the restraining order against eventually, I was very ill at the time. I think I mentioned that too. So how I felt it and how my body reacted to it was extraordinarily different than today. I am extraordinarily different in pretty much every way than I was back then. Or just a couple years ago, to be honest with you. Or just earlier this year, to be honest with you. Just a few months ago, it seems like, because things are changing so much. But each time he shouted at me, it felt like a million bazillion little teeny tiny hot pinpricks hitting me, but not just my body. Like I felt it like, and it didn't even like really hit like all the way through. Like it hit me, but it didn't get like, it just like I would feel it and then it would go, and then until the next shout, and I would feel it and then it would like drop. It was like kind of like that. It was kind of like hit, drop, instead of like going through me. And I believe that is because, and there's this whole like different ways you can see it. When we want to move energy, especially any kind of negative energy, good energy, any kind of energy, we want to flow. We want energy to go through us. But if it's like in a situation where you've got some negative energy going on, especially if it's being directly targeted at you, there's a good chance that, like me before today, I wouldn't have etherically, energetically felt that. But because I'm so super sensitive now to energy, and so connected on a high frequency, I could feel it. And it was the only word that keeps coming to mind is dirty. Like flat out dirty. It really hit me afterwards. Like right afterwards, and this is something that I've been doing for a while, especially when things just are ridiculous or seem to spiral and people are just losing their shit and things are going nuts or nothing is, working right or whatever in the moment. Sometimes when energies are extraordinarily high and people don't know how to handle it, which is happening, is I laugh. It transmutes negative energy instantly. Whether it's on you, around you, or somebody else's, like whatever, it just makes you feel better. And I definitely advise that if you are in a situation where you can be really upset or it's really chaotic or whatever, just laugh. Like find the crazy humor in it. And I mean, I can always find a reason to laugh. I've always been that way, but no matter what. But at that moment, I was just like, I could feel it. And it shocked me. Like every time it was like, ooh, 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 but there it went. It disappeared. Ooh, but there it went. It disappeared. And I was just kind of like mesmerized by it. And at the same time, in between his shouts, um, and he was calling me names and telling me that I'm neurotic because, and the whole fight or whatever was because the refrigerator that I'm supposed to be using here is about 15 degrees warmer than it should be, and my food has been going bad since I moved in, way before it should. Of course, it was my fault for constantly leaving the refrigerator door open, even though there was never any evidence of that. And that never happened. That fridge was never left open. There's actually duct tape around the side of it. So everything was my fault. Everything is always my fault. That's another thing. If you're around somebody and no matter what it is, things need to be twisted around into your fault or you're wrong or there's a debate or why didn't you do this or you didn't understand or I mean that is a form of energy vampirism because immediately it creates a negative reaction in the other person and that is a really easy way to elicit an energetic response from somebody and then continue to pull on it. Because if they react to it, then you can build on it and you can keep siphoning off that negative energy. So my body all day. My body the last couple days I woke up yesterday with my head kind of pounding, feeling dehydrated and a little achy, a little loose, but feeling pretty good. And it's just because of the energies right now that are going on. They affect you, especially, I mean, you're basically a battery. You're an energetic battery with a lot of water mixed in, and you're on an energetic planet with energy hitting it. It's just energy, 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 energy. And if you're a sensitive being, like I am, extraordinarily sensitive, I feel that. I have a lot of energy. I put out a lot of energy, and I feel a lot of energy around me. And I do my best to keep all of that positive energy. But there's times where no matter how hard I try, is lately difficult to avoid just because I am somebody that becomes targeted in different ways. And because of what's going on energetically. And so people will just behave differently. People will be manipulated more easily by other darker forces or entities or just narcissistic people in general. They get a little twisted up. They twist up more people more than they normally do when energies get to a point that they can't assimilate or acclimate because they are still so deep into the 3D matrix. They're consuming a lot of processed foods. They're on pharmaceuticals. They smoke or drink. They watch a lot of television, which is a shit ton of programming built in there. A lot of mind control, subliminal shit being sent your way when you're watching TV and movies. You should be aware of that. If you're drinking water with fluoride in it, that brings down your the process of your pineal gland and your third eye. So people are doing that. People aren't sleeping well. People don't take care of themselves and their bodies. I used to be one of these people doing all that stuff. So not a judgment. Let me just say that. Not a judgment. The 3D regular real world matrix that you're basically born into, the way that it has been, is deep, and it's all around, and it's really hard to get out. I was literally pulled out by my spirit team. Story for another day, because that's pretty intense, but really, really intense. But it was time. So awake I became, and I was highly tripped out and confused and thought I was going crazy for a while, and actually have videos that say you're not going crazy, because I figured out I wasn't going crazy when I opened my eyes to this whole thing called waking up and ascension and spiritual awakening. I want to rename it universal understanding, because it involves a lot more than what people would mostly associate what spiritual understanding or spiritual awakening has been. I did in the past. I was like, okay, so if somebody gets born again Christian, that's awesome. And totally not for me, because I was never into religion at all. Still not. It's always been very uncomfortable for me, because most of it is utter bullshit and just made and put there to control the masses and all that good stuff. So, more energy